Good morning, everyone. We are coming live via Skype streaming for those participants who are connected via Skype, YouTube live streaming, and also Facebook live streaming. Facebook live streaming is coming through our group taoshobuddha International. Facebook live streaming is coming via Facebook group taoshobuddha International. As consciousness flowers, I just choose this topic as consciousness flowers. As consciousness flowers, there is a continuity. A new process begins. And what is that happens? Remember the innermost core or innerness or flowering of the being is witnessing, is awareness, it's watchfulness. You can call it by any names or call it by anything, but that will be another name for witnessing. Truth alone is pure awareness, and when truth begins to blossom through you, when truth begins to blossom through you, know this as the flowering of consciousness. So as consciousness flowers, you experience truth in its multidimensionality. As consciousness flowers, you are more and more aware. Remember, just by being aware, thoughts start disappearing. In the beginning, the process is slow, and thereafter the process gains impetus. There is no need for you to fight with thoughts, because by fighting you gain nothing. You lose your energy. And remember, thoughts move in a chain reaction. You just sit down one cool morning or a warm winter morning, sipping a cup of tea. You take a name, just call out a name. Like a chain reaction, one after the other. The thoughts will appear as if it's a long chain. You will be surprised. The thoughts begin to surface from the inner depth. Something that you have forgotten long ago begins to surface, and you remain lost into it. Thoughts are like wild horses. They have been tamed and put in the stable. They are being nourished, nurtured, and groomed there. You choose one of the horse on one morning and you take a horse ride. But if you let loose all the horses, or they get let loose by any means, they just run and run and run until they disappear in the wild. You will not find where the horses have gone. They will seek company, go here and there. So when you are being aware of the thoughts, thoughts begin to disappear like the wild horses and disappear in the wild. Just by being aware, thoughts starts disappearing. This is the process. Besides this, you do not have to do anything else. There is no need to fight with thoughts. Your awareness is enough to destroy them. Remember this. Your awareness is enough to destroy them. And when mind is empty, the temple is ready. When mind is empty, the temple is ready to receive. It happened, there are Ajanta and Ellora caves, the Khajuraho temples, where on the outer walls of the temple many erotics are carved. These exhibit different imaginative and some beyond imaginative images captured in sculptures. Images of male-female relation, that is why it is known as erotics. When visitors go to those temples, take many pictures, stand up, pass their hands and fingers on the carvings, and from there they return taking the pictures. But the purpose behind these temples is not understood. The outer walls with so many imaginative and unimaginative carvings of erotics, they are symbolic of the life that surrounds you. The life that surrounds you. You, as you traverse along the life's roads, through the byways and highways and thoroughfares, you see many things like these that attract your attention. Maybe you are walking through the aisles of the supermarket or a department store or an electronic stores like erotics. These images, these items are there attracting your attention. Based on your innerness, you will be attracted to these. Hardly ever happens that you visit to the marketplace and you return empty handed without shopping for anything. If you have not done any shopping, at least you will eat something and come back. So the outer walls with images of erotics in the sculpture symbolizes the outer life that you have to face as you traverse through the life. As I said, very rarely does it happen that you go through the entire market or the shopping complex and you remain untouched by either by people or by the objects that are there on display or the food items that whose aroma reaches your nostrils and invites you. All of a sudden, you meet a salesman, he points out to you something. And then you see the big posters that Apple has launched the new iPhone 8. You may not need or you may not have resources to buy that, but you will like to have a demo of it. In one way or the other, you cannot remain untouched. Very rarely it happens. About this year, I had bought iPhone 7 Plus. When someone told me that Apple has launched iPhone 8 and along with that others, there was no attraction in me even to look at the features. What am I going to do by looking at the features? You may say, but that is good for the knowledge sake. But I am reminded of the functionings of the mind. My 7 Plus does all my work, so there is no need for me to do that. I am satiated with the service of 7 Plus. I do not have to worry about the same time that I will spend in learning the features of this. I will try to learn how to operate 7 Plus in a better manner, so I can communicate to you during these sessions in a more lucid and a better way. So this was the device. In the marketplace, the emphasis is on more and more financial gains. Apple launched a big advertisement and many things. So they will get the business. Thousands and millions of iPhones will be sold during the launch. In the same way, the purpose of those erotics in Khajuraho temples is not of business, but it's a purpose of taking you through in a meditative way from the outer to the inner, outer to the inner. And when you pass through these erotics without being affected as if these do not exist for you, only then you are capable of reaching the innermost temple, innermost sanctum of that temple, the temple in Khajuraho. And there isn't anything, not even a single erotic, not even a single statue or anything, just an empty space, encompassed within the boundaries. So it remains hidden. Out of thousands of visitors who visit these temples, maybe once in decades, someone goes there. Nobody knows about that. And you are not told because your interest is not there. And that is a device of the masters. When you are free of thoughts, when we are free of the emotional upheavals, when nothing bothers you, you reach to the innermost emptiness of your mind, that is space. The emptiness, that is space that your being is. So when the mind is empty, it becomes a temple and it is ready. And inside the temple, the only God worth placing or exists is silence, is serenity, is a dancing tranquility. So those three words you have to remember. Relaxation. First you have to relax. And when you are relaxed, the process of witnessing begins. I am speaking to you. There is a particular intonation, the choice of the words, the gestures as you watch the live streaming, the gaps between two words, the calm demeanor. All these are there as a device to give you a kind of, to give you relaxation. Just sitting in front of this streaming, allowing the words to enter you, something begins to settle in you. The breathing becomes quiet. There is no more bodily movements, as if that you have become a stone statue-like. This particular style, the particular way the words are chosen, the words overflow, it takes you into the state of relaxation. This happens. And because of that relaxation, you experience moments of thoughtlessness. In the beginning, these moments are fleeting, sporadic, come and go. And then as the time continues and you continue to be nourished and nurtured by this presence that surrounds you, those moments, those gaps when there is no thought gets elongated, and out of that, as a flowering, as the fragrance, silence happens to you. It is out of your trust and love that you decide to attend to this session, be here as a blessing to that. You experience moments of thoughtlessness, gaps increase in their size and numbers, And as the fragrance of those gaps, as the flowering of those gaps, a tranquility, a silence, a serenity descends in you. This is not your doing. It descends from somewhere. And if these three words are no more words, the relaxation, the thoughtlessness and silence, they are no more words to you. Instead, they become your experience. Yes, in the company of this Buddha, something happens that you feel very relaxed. You feel sleepy. That is, but in that moment, even if you fall asleep, you will be relaxed. But if you remain awake, imbibing every single moment of this overflow, something will happen to you. It will become your experience. Your life will be transformed and you will attain to the peak of consciousness. You will attain to the peak of consciousness. Remember, only a few people are born with awareness. Very few people. Those are the people who die full of awareness. It's like the weekend is approaching and it is going to be a long weekend. And the weekend is so long that you may forget your assignments that you have at your hand. But if you finish all your assignments before proceeding for this long weekend, or when you have to go for your holidays, annual holidays, you like to finish all your assignments before you go. And even if some remains, you will like to complete it during your holiday period so nothing remains hanging on your head. So when you die totally aware, then you are born with awareness. If death was a conscious experience, then birth will be conscious experience as well, and you can choose the place, the time, and the parents of your birth. You will look into which family or the company or association will help you in the process of the soul's journey. You will enter into that family, take birth in that family. And not only that, the head of that family has also grown into awareness, and he makes the prior arrangement for your visit, for your stay in the family. If the death was conscious, then birth will be conscious as well, because death is one side of the coin that life is, the other side is the birth. If I put it, the coin is one dimensional, it has two sides. If we make it into a tunnel, one side of the tunnel is birth, the other side is death. They are not separate from one another. Birth and death are two openings of that tunnel. You can enter through the birth to reach the other shore, which is death, or you enter through the door of death and reach to birth. the journey, the direction of the two journeys differ from one another. So if you have entered into death consciously, then birth will be conscious as well, because death is one side and birth is another side of the coin that we call life. This is why my so much emphasis is on being awake and alert. Do not let any of your action happen mechanically. You can practice this. You are driving, you are returning home. Are you aware or automatically your steering moves towards the home? Your feet and everything directs you towards the home. How many times when you are returning home, consciously you turn your steering? It happens mechanically. Even if you are going somewhere, but your home is like is set in your GPS system, automatically it directs you to that. But if you have to go to another place, you have to set everything and you have to be cautious, alert that you do not miss any turn. Somewhat in because of the new strange place, you remain a little bit alert. But when it is something that you had been doing on a day-to-day basis, you become automatic. When I am doing my basic routine, that is cooking, although it is the same thing, the same vegetable I am cooking, but this time when I do it, it must taste different. It is not stereotyped. The person who is cooking is alive. The one who has cooked the same dish earlier on is no more alive. Much water has flown under the bridge. I am not the same person because I am not the body. Even the change takes place at the level of the body. But in the same way, consciousness does not remain the same stationary, it is constantly moving like the water flowing under the bridge. Heraclitus says you cannot enter the same bridge, you cannot enter the same river twice. But this may sound strange to you. You say that I bathe again and again in the same river. But is river, what is river? You may find that my way of looking at the things is totally different perspective. River is bound by two banks that becomes the two shores. Between these two shores there is a riverbed, that which flows between the two banks is water. It is constantly flowing, it is not stationary. So the riverbed, the two banks that support the river, the flow, and the water that flows, these are the various components of the river. The water is constantly flowing from its source to where it's supposed to reach. In the same way, between the two shores of the mind, the objective and the subjective mind, the yin and yang, flows the water of life, amidst the shores of objective and subjective mind, the two layers of energy, yin and yang, flows the water of life as consciousness. It has been flowing and shall continue to flow forever, without a break. So it is not the same. And as it flows, it refurbishes, it nourishes and nurtures, it strengthens your two poles of the energy, and the process continues. So I am not the same person. So whatsoever is coming out of me in the form of a dish or in the form of a word or something, it will have the taste of that, but the outer appearance will be different. I am speaking to you at this very moment. You all are in front of me. You all create a presence. Each one of you is a presence, and when you all put together, there is a cosmic presence. I am addressing that. Yesterday you was different. Today you are different. I am responding to that questioning mind. It has to be different. That is why my so much emphasis is on being awake and alert. When you are aware through life's roads, then you will be aware in the final moments of death as well. A conscious death brings a conscious birth as well. Instead, it is benediction to be born conscious and die conscious as well. Awareness is the greatest alchemy there is. Just go on becoming more and more and more aware, and you will find your life starts changing for the better in every possible dimension. It will bring a greater fulfillment into you. Just become more and more aware, and you will find your life starts changing for better in every possible dimension. It will bring great fulfillment to you. I do not have any choice anymore. I am in a state of choiceless awareness. Whatsoever happens spontaneously, that is it. When you are in a state of choiceless awareness, then there is no need to be aware. Even awareness vanishes. I am simply aware. Now, awareness is just like my heartbeat. Do you have to do anything for your heartbeat? No. It is constantly flowing like an undercurrent. When you are choiceless, there is no need to be aware. I am simply aware, and now awareness is just like the heartbeat, or just like my breathing. Even if I try not to be aware, can you try not to breathe? Can you try your heart not to beat? It is not in your hand. The only time breathing stops, breathing you can control somewhat, because this is a mechanism, and heartbeat is of a totally different quality. You cannot stop it. You can, however, slow down its rate, the pulse. You can slow it down through the technique of breathing. Through the breathing, you can stop, you can reduce the number of heartbeats per second. That will bring relaxation. Even if I try to stop the heartbeat or breathing, it is not possible, it is impossible. And then the very effort will make me even more aware. Awareness is not a quality or a characteristic. Instead, it is your whole being. When you become aware, there is no choice left to be otherwise, and you cannot fall back into the dark hole. The sun has risen. The entire inner sky is full of light, and you live by this inner light, not by the light of the sun. Instead, inner light, inner sun has risen. You are the pulse of the cosmos. You are harmony, oneness, and bliss. Your words, actions, and gestures manifest that light. There is so much beauty. There is so much beauty that as a fragrance, love overflows now as compassion. Love overflows as compassion now. It has happened to me. It can happen to you as well. Never doubt it, even for a single moment. Only this much for this morning. Until tomorrow, take care and do have a pleasant day.